9th of September 1493, in the afternoon hours, between 5 and 10,000, maybe more, were lying dead on the Krbava field. It was only a few hours before that marked the start of the battle between Kingdom of Croatia and the Ottoman Empire troops. To this day, there are myths in the surrounding villages that tell a story of field being soaked with blood so much on that day that blood forever turned the soil red. Since 1102, the Kingdom of Croatia was in personal union with the Kingdom of Hungary, which meant two kingdoms, one king. The effective autonomy of Kingdom of Croatia in this union will vary throughout its history. The main authority in the Kingdom of Croatia was Ban. Viceroyal represented the king. At the time, in the eve of the battle, there was a drift between the powerful noble families, especially the family of Frankopan and Karl Krbava and Ban. Some historians even suggest that the Frankopans were in touch with the Ottomans, and may even ask them to help them to fight the Ban. Republic of Venice, who had possessions on the eastern coast of Adriatic Sea, found out about these possible connections and informed the Pope. During the battle, there were two black flags, possibly marking some units to be spared during the battle. Also, another coincidence, or maybe not, months before the battle, an unknown diplomat from Kingdom of Croatia spent a couple of months in the Ottoman Empire. At the same city, at the same time, Sultan was visiting the city. It is clear, however, that lands of some Frankopan family members were spared from Ottoman raids. The battle itself was not a classical battle of two organized armies. On one hand, the Ottoman troops were not looking to engage an enemy army, and being mostly composed of cavalry, this army was used as a raiding army, moving deep into Central European territory and returning to Ottoman Empire with bags full of loot. On the other hand, Croatian Ban and nobility, since this Ottoman army was not a classical army, thought they could raise an army big enough to deal with them. Among the security and glory they would gain for their kingdom, if there is also loot the Ottoman troops were carrying with them added to that equation, the better. Since the Croatian side knew there are only two ways for the Ottoman troops to exit Croatian territory, they knew exactly where to prepare for battle. The battle will take place in the mountainous region of Lika, on a field of Krbava. There were disagreements between the nobility, the most vocal being the Frankopans, and Ban on tactics and the place the battle should take place. The Frankopans were arguing that they should use the mountainous passages to ambush the Ottoman troops. Fraction that supported Ban's tactic prevailed, and decision was made to wait for the Ottomans on the field of Krbava. Their starting position was elevated compared to that of the Ottomans, so tactically wise it was not all bad. And Ban proved himself as a capable commander in the previous years. It is hard to determine the size of Ban's army, but it is clear they had at least between 12 and 1500 horsemen, and the majority of the army was composed of infantry. Therefore, most likely between 6 and 8,000 troops in total. The Ottoman army was mostly composed of light cavalry, and total numbers were lesser than that of Croatian army. The Ottoman army was being led by Jakub Pasha, who decided to use the speed and flexibility of his army to overcome slight disadvantage when it came to sheer numbers. When two armies finally met, they both deployed in three groups. Ban was commanding the right flank, the left flank was commanded by one of the Frankopans, Bernardin, and the center was commanded by his cousin, John IX, Frankopan of Cetina. The battle started on the morning of 9th of September between 6 and 9 a.m. The right Ottoman flank crushed into left flank of Croatian forces. After heavy fighting, the Ottomans started retreating. The eager cavalry of the left flank started to pursue them. Seeing their cavalry moving forward, the infantry soon followed. When they moved away far enough from the main army, a few thousands of Ottoman horsemen charge out of the woods on their left and soon surrounded the left flank of Croatian forces, or whatever was left of it. Bernardin Frankopan and a few hundred of his soldiers managed to break through and retreated in the fortress nearby the battlefield. The Ottomans then attacked the center of Croatian army. To try and save the day, Ban sent his forces to try to relieve the pressure on the center, but to no avail. Soon the entire Croatian army was overwhelmed and beaten badly. By 4 p.m., most of Ban's soldiers were either lying dead on the ground or taken prisoner. Ban himself will die in Ottoman dungeon cell. In this battle, Kingdom of Croatia lost no territory, but lost in manpower was huge. Kingdom of Croatia lost some of its most prominent nobles and most of their armored knights. The battle caused a mass migration of Christian population that lived near the border with the Ottoman Empire inwards. In 1495, the Sultan will sign a peace treaty with Kingdom of Croatia and Hungary. The next battle will occur in 1513, when Kingdom of Croatia will be given another chance to test their chances against the Ottoman troops.